Welcome to the first episode of the Market Blueprint. Today, we will dive into how Share.Market builds with a consumer-first approach, solving real user pain points and not just looking into industry trends. While a lot of brokers in the industry focus on just transactions, at Share.Market, we look into the entire journey, from idea generation to execution and portfolio management. With us today, we have our Head of Product, Arjun, and our Head of Engineering, Himanshu. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Abhi.
Thank you.
We'll discuss how they develop products, prioritize user needs, and what's next on the roadmap. Let's dive in. So before getting into the product specifics, let's dive into some basics. Who are the consumer segments that Share.Market is building for?
So we look at the market in three main segments, right? One is long-term investors, which is basically they have a horizon of more than 6 months to 1 year, and sometimes even longer, right? Like it could be 10 to 15 years as well. Then we look at people with a shorter term window, which could be 1 day to 6 months also. Basically, we call them short-term opportunists because they're really playing on the market direction more than investing for the long term, while they do also have a flavor of long-term investment coming in if they're going in for say longer than a month, but they're looking to exit quickly, right? The third segment, which is generally having more capital and more advanced strategies, is the advanced traders. So these people will probably trade in futures and options other than stocks as well. But they'll often have large capital and complex strategies, which is why we call them advanced traders. So those are the three segments we essentially look at.
All right, so let's break down their journey. It all starts with idea generation, right? So why is this such a big focus for you?
So what we've seen in the market generally is idea generation, which is one of the most important parts because there's a full journey when you enter the market, right? No one is holistically kind of solving for it. There are multiple platforms, and existing brokers do offer some of the things these platforms offer in terms of idea generation, but not holistically. Some platforms will offer one thing, the other platform will offer another thing. And then there's a lot of paid and free non-broking platforms customers have to visit to do this idea generation, like news websites, tool websites, right? So what we essentially recognized was because they need to visit these multiple websites, it becomes a challenge for them. They have multiple apps, multiple websites. So we've tried to integrate that all into our thought process from the beginning. While all of the features or things we want to roll out might not be out yet, but from the get-go, we've thought of idea generation as an important part. That's why we have a few things which are live already, right? Right when you open the app and complete your onboarding, we have something called the Discover page, where we have stock collections for users. Stock collections are basically shortlisted lists of stocks by our research team via some formulas, or sometimes even someone sitting and doing a lot of number crunching, right? So they shortlist these stocks and we provide these shortlists to our users so they can essentially get an idea to start with these lists, right? From here, once they go to the stock pages, we have something called factors, right? Where if you're a long-term investor specifically, or even a short-term opportunist with a little bit of a longer time duration, you need to understand the fundamentals of the stock. You need to understand the momentum of the stock. So for that, we essentially have the factors, which are we have 5 factors, and we rate each stock on those 5 factors. We also compare these stocks to their peers on those 5 factors. This really helps you decide from a short list of stocks to one single stock. This really helps you decide now whether I should go further or not, whether the stock matches my style or not. So those are some of the things we have on people who are kind of doing it themselves. Then we also have wealth baskets, where say you don't have any idea and you need hand-holding throughout the journey, right? You're like, I have money to invest, but I don't have a lot of time. We have something called wealth baskets, which are a curated basket of stocks, which the user can buy in a single go. And then we rebalance it for them every few months or every few weeks, depending on the type of wealth basket. So essentially, you're buying a fresh basket of stocks, which we keep updating every few weeks, so you don't have to go through the headache of anything, and you just need to know what sort of idea you're going after, and everything else after that is kind of taken care by us.
So that makes sense. You are reducing friction by bringing everything into one place. Great. So let's say someone has an idea. The next step is execution. So what does that look like?
So for execution, the needs of long-term investors and short-term traders, they seem to be a little different. While a long-term investor may want different order types, a short-term trader may focus on the pace at which the order is placed. We call it latency in the systems, or the time taken for an order to reach exchange and then return back to the client. Right? These two are very different requirements. We have built our platforms, our systems in a way that we cater to both of these use cases. We do have high reliability and scalability. We have redundant lines to exchanges to enable our traders to place orders quickly. And at the same time, we have multi-platform approach where we have built a lot of these complex order types with the research that Arjun just mentioned. This offering is for our long-term investors.
So on top of what Himanshu just said, right, while order types and speed are some of the things which our different cohorts require, the trader setup is also a very important thing while execution, right? For the short-term opportunists, within that, there's a segment of users called scalpers, which who essentially play mainly on price action, and that also in the thick of the moment. Like during the market, if price is changing each minute, they'll want to punch orders. Not each minute, but basically they'll take mini decisions each minute, and then they'll want to punch orders very quickly. So not only does the speed of execution, as he mentioned, become very important, and say combining multiple order types together to give complex orders, also their setup becomes quite important. In what I mean by that is, when you're looking at this price action very heavily and you need to then quickly decide what to do and place that order, you need something like an all-in-one screen, right? So this is the thing we've recently launched called Trading Panel, right? This is live now both on app and web. Essentially, it allows you to look at price charts, which are the main starting point for a lot of short-term traders. Look at the price action which is happening there, apply your indicators, etc. And then on the same screen, both in mobile and web, you can essentially look at option chain as well. So if you're maybe trading Nifty options, right, you can look at the Nifty option chain with the Nifty chart, take your decision right in that moment, looking at both data points together, and place the order from that screen itself within 2 clicks. So that really helps them to place that order quickly. Now, after they place the order, they're also able to view that order right there. So this makes their execution quite seamless, while traditionally brokers have looked at execution as just speed and complicated order types. We are also looking at the setup for scalpers heavily, and we've done a lot of investments in that space with Trading Panel, and we are working on a lot more to enhance this much further and make it much smoother.
In fact, just to give some more idea about the background story, while building this trading panel, a lot of research went into designing it. Our research team, our analytics team, we and our design team sat together with the product and tech, and we designed it in a way that it basically shaves off every millisecond, every half a second, in a way that traders can seamlessly place orders. This is one of the things that would enable our trader community to execute orders faster on the UI as well as on the backend.
Right, and if you remember, Himanshu, we got that review which said that before we launched Trading Panel, that it takes 5 to 10 clicks to do everything, and users were bashing us about that when we initially launched. But I think the speed with which we could realize that for the scalper segment, this is an important thing to cut down the number of steps, because the app was working like a maze for them initially. We were able to execute very quickly on that, and then once we launched it, we've been getting great feedback about that.
Yep, all of these data elements went into that research. How do we design it in a way that users are able to place order with minimalistic clicks?
That's great. So once an investor or a trader has placed their bets, managing the portfolio is the next challenge. So how does Share.Market approach this?
Right, so again, going back to the 3 segments, right, very different needs. At Share.Market, again, from the idea generation part itself, once you create a portfolio, that idea is continuing, right? So linking your portfolio or linking whatever orders you've placed or your positions to that original idea becomes very important. So what we are looking at doing is a holistic picture from idea generation to portfolio management, while execution is an important cog in the middle. Essentially, these two need to be linked, because what is happening in your portfolio will dictate the next idea a lot, and then it's like a virtuous cycle, right? In that lens, we are trying to carry that idea generation forward to the portfolio management as well, and a lot of the thinking and the thought process is going into making sure whatever idea you executed, that is visible on the portfolio as well. So if you are, for example, placing a basket order, which we are about to launch soon, right? You can view this in one go again on the trading panel. So essentially, if you've placed 4 or 5 orders together in a single underlying instrument like Nifty 50, and you have 4 option contracts on Nifty 50, you can view all of them together in the trading panel today itself. In the future, we'll launch things like if you've thought of a strategy on placing these 4 orders, you'll be able to view how your strategy is doing in the portfolio as well. So these are the things we are looking for the trader segment. For the long-term investors as well, we were talking about factors earlier. Now these factors flow into your portfolio as well. So we'll have an analysis on the portfolio which will talk about how your entire portfolio is kind of doing based on the same factors we tell you while you're making the first investment. This then helps you look at your portfolio as a big element, and then essentially we are kind of helping you rate whether that's doing good or bad and take further decisions. So not only the basic management of portfolio in terms of viewing your profit and loss, right? But actually going a step further and giving you some intelligence on top of it. That's how we are looking at portfolio management.
I love that you guys are building with users at the center of everything. Which brings me to my next question. How do you decide what to build next?
It's basically a mix of things. We constantly listen to our users via multiple channels, our reviews, our social media network. We do have a user group, a testing user group. Right? They share a lot of these suggestions. We then go back to the drawing board. We figure out what works best for our user segment. We also figure out what is the gap in the industry, something that could be built better, something that could be built from scratch, right? And then an amalgamation of all of these things give us an idea of how do we prioritize different features, maybe some new capability. Along with this, we do have a very deep focus on increasing the reliability and stability of our entire ecosystem. We understand that this is one of the major aspects what users need while using any stockbroking platform. So we are making heavy investments in ensuring that our system scales up really well and it works the way it is supposed to work.
Just to add to what Himanshu was saying, right? I can maybe go a little back in our history and how we kind of started and how we think about it, right? Our first step was just looking at the market, right? Doing a lot of market research, which means not only looking at what the current players are doing, how their apps look like, but also going to the users on the ground, right? We not only conducted surveys and research via surveys, we also spoke to a lot of users, about 50 to 100 users in each of these segments we spoke to live, and a lot of our product managers and tech folks are part of these discussions, including the marketing business folks as well. So all of us did these user interviews, and what we basically call this is macro and micro research, right? You start from the top, you look at the entire country, you do a lot of surveys to figure out how big the market is, what are people going towards, what are their investment choices. Then you slowly start moving to the micro research, which starts with user interviews, where you kind of understand what are their met and unmet needs and latent needs, like what are they not talking about, what are they explicitly talking about. And then we go into micro research, which is based on this, we came up with a bunch of app designs, right? What should we build first? Then we again went back to some of these users and showed them this app, how this looks, is it working well, not working well. So we start from the very top and go to the very bottom and do multiple levels of research. this is before we started building, right? Because we weren't live, so we need to do this level of research to understand what we want to build. After we've built, as Himanshu mentioned, a lot of user reviews and feedback are now directly coming to us, and this kind of makes our job easier because users are now directly asking us for what they want. So it does make our job a lot easier, but that's not the only thing we look at. Now that we are live, we also have a lot of data about how users are using that platform, right? What are they going through, what are they not going through, where do they get confused. We are able to derive all those insights from data with the help of our analytics team. And using a combination of all these methods, which is research, listening to our users directly, and looking at a lot of data, we're able to come up with what we want to build next. In addition to this, like Himanshu said, there are some core capabilities which we need to look at, which are live in the market, but maybe are not done as well. So where we see we can maybe develop an edge and invest in something new which maybe people have not. While users might not understand they need this today, looking at a forward-looking picture, if you understand what sort of capability or differential capability might come in the future, you invest heavily in that. So on the intelligence side, using a lot of data analytics and number crunching, and probably now getting into ML models, right? We are investing heavily in the intelligence layer, where we feel intelligence as a capability we'll invest a lot into, so that in the future this can be in the A to Z of our platform, which users might not be asking for directly now, but will be using in the future.
In fact, Abira, while Arjun was mentioning about the history, how we built all of these things, a very funny story came to my mind. Let me just share it with our audience. So I remember while we launched in August 2023, before that, while we were building this app, the prioritization framework that we are discussing about, right? It's not very easy because you have to launch an app. There are so many things that can be done, but we have limited bandwidth and also a time constraint, right? So we all used to decide, have very intense debates, discussions, what to be built, what we can build as a fast follow-up once we launch. So just before the launch in August 23, we actually did closed user group testing in June, July. And then everything was hunky-dory, things were working fine. The day we launched, there was something that stopped working.
Yeah, so if I can get into the details of that, if you remember, the thing which stopped working was actually user being able to submit tickets, and which is very important when you're launching a new app, because things might not be perfect, right? We're launching a new app, we spend months building it, and then the module from where the user is supposed to type in and send a ticket if something is not working. Few hours before launch, we realized that morning, because it was an early morning for us, that it's suddenly stopped working even though it was tested very well. And then, if you remember, all of us were sitting at the back. We had a huge launch event, right? And there were about 10 people sitting at the back and trying to fix that, and talking to people in the office who were in the war room in the office. So finally, just like a few minutes before launch, we were able to fix that. And finally, we were like relieved, because launching a new thing and customers not being able to submit tickets would have been a big problem. But thankfully, to our brilliant tech team and coordination amongst all of us, we were able to fix that quickly.
I believe it was a classic case of that tech thingy when it works on my laptop but it doesn't work on production.
Yeah, right.
Fun times.
Yes.
Okay, so now we are towards the end of the podcast. So tell us what's coming next.
Right. So I won't go a lot into the future, because things keep changing, right? But immediately, what a few things we are launching. First, we just want to tell our users, I hope they've been using trading panel on the mobile. We now also launched it on the web, so that all-in-one experience we've been talking about is now live on the web as well. Mutual funds is something which is coming very soon on Share.Market, so you can have like a full integrated experience with stocks, F&O, ETFs, and now mutual funds as well coming in. A lot of order types which our users have been asking for, like cover order and basket order and GTT, those things are also coming soon. And then we are also launching price alerts, which will help our users put a target on a price and understand if the target price is hit. So again part of the idea generation, like if they want to invest into that.
Just to add to what Arjun just mentioned, under the hood, we are doing a lot of changes that would make our system, as I mentioned earlier, more stable and reliable. We are also trying to use the Gen AI and LLM models, right, which is nowadays talk of the town, into seeing how we can optimize and bring a better experience to our users. We are trying to use these things in our customer support experience. We are trying to use this in our research as well, right? Can we create better algorithms to identify better opportunities for our wealth basket users? Can we give a better experience when someone is reaching out to us for their query resolution? These are some of the places where we are trying to do a proof of concept, a POC that we call in tech. Right. Other than this, there's a heavy focus on reducing the order latency, which would further give a better experience to my traders. The orders would be faster. And a lot of stuff is happening under the hood to just give a better experience for all the three segments of the users.
That's an exciting roadmap. Thank you for taking us behind the scenes.
Thank you, Abhira.
Thank you.
To our listeners, if you have any feedback or ideas, drop them in the comments below. Your input or feedback helps shape what's next. Until next time, happy trading.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.